Well, I guess I could do live streams. There it is. All right, all right, all right. So I might be able to get away with one, maybe by phone, and we'll pick movies. So you guys have to do me a favor. On this live stream, in the comment section, just leave a list of movies so I can start writing them down. Because as I started writing list of movies down, there are thousands, tens of thousands of movies that we can review. Shitty movies and good movies. Paul F., thank you for the 5x5. Loretta, Winston, Angelwood, Raccoon Eyes, Teresa, Sheila, Off Time, Vision, Dan, Rhonda, thank you for the 5x5. At Peace, Gene, Sojourner, thank you for the 5x5. Grit and Grace, Eric, Kenneth, Richard, thank you for the 5x5. Crow, thank you for the 5x5. Gladiator. Wait a minute, Stakes. Gladiators with Cuba Gooding, right? Not Gladiators with Russell Crowe, right? Because the one with Cuba Gooding was fucking horrible. And then that white kid that I'd never seen again. Debbie Does Dallas. Yes, we will talk about that too. No, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Lost Boys, another classic. People Under the Stairs, a sleeper classic. That was a good movie. That was a good fucking movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that was good. YouTube's buffering all night. I don't think I'm about The Crow. Now, we're definitely going to talk about The Crow because we're going to do a comparison between this Crow and the remake, which I heard already sucks. But undoubtedly, we're going to do a comparison of the two. So I'm going to suffer through it and watch it. That's The Crow. The Burbs, I love that movie. That's my favorite movie. Someone said, shit, where was it? I just saw it. There was a movie that Eddie Murphy was supposed to be in. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? He was supposed to play Bob Hopkins' character. He said that he was originally casted for it, or they wanted him to do the role, but he turned it down. He says now when he looks at it, he's like, motherfucker, because he thought that acting with a cartoon was stupid, but it became an international hit, right? So, all right, Vision's one. Manage. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did. All right, Vision's on. I don't want to make the. I don't want to try to make the same people moderators just because I think that's moderation overload. I think too many what is it? Vision, Hudson Valley, Rick, these guys that are doing moderation for Angry Truth and Angry Prepper. I think that might be too much. There was another movie that Eddie Murphy didn't turn down, but he could not do. Oh, Ghostbusters. He was supposed to do Ghostbusters. He was supposed to play what's his name's character, the only black guy in the movie, and he turned it down because he was doing Beverly Hills Cop, which then was a hit. Adam, I was going to look at the Return to Oz. So there's a lot of movies that I'm going to start watching. I'm leaving to Florida Thursday, so I'm going to catch up on some 80s movies while I'm away. But definitely, and we're going to talk about a lot of the hits and sleeper movies. I'm going to try to stay away from boring movies like Annie. I mean, Annie's a classic, but I don't know how much I could say about a little redheaded white girl. Fucking woe is me, I don't know. And Sean Stanford said you can mod if you want. Right, Sean, do me a favor, reach out to me in email. Thank you. Angryprepper@yahoo.com. We're definitely going to talk about a lot of John Candy movies too, as well. No Kung Fu flick. I know it's the fucking computer, and then there's only 89 people on here too. I think it's the amount of people that go on, but I'm gonna double check my the files and get rid of a lot of them. Vampire in Brooklyn, that was a 90s film, but we could talk about that one. That was pretty horrible. I didn't like that one. Ugh. Edward Scissorhands. Yeah, definitely. I watched that the other day. Harlem Nights is a classic. That's my personal favorite. I thought that movie was fucking good. With all those comedy legends in it, that was a good movie, man. Harlem Nights. The original Night of the Living Dead. I hated that fucking movie. I hated the original. I did not like it, at all. Yo, Uncle Buck, The Great Outdoors. What was it? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Or Train, Planes, and Automobiles? That I finally saw that movie for the first time 10, 15 years ago. And I was like, this is a good fucking movie. I don't know why I didn't watch it back then. And it's still a good movie to this day. Especially John Candy's character, man. With Steve Martin, right? Grease, I might have to sit through it again, but there's a theory with Grease. I think we spoke about it already. But we're gonna go over movie theories as well. There's a couple of good movie theories out there that are like some of them are a little far fetched, and some of them connect a little bit. But the Grease theory, I like that one. I thought that was pretty cool. Uh, yeah, Prepper Revelate. This is definitely going to be fun. Weekends at Bernie. Well, we're living it. We got somebody in the office. I'm pretty sure it's fucking dead. Dawn of the Dead 2009. That was fucking good. Matter of fact, guys, they're coming out with 28 months later. So they have another sequel coming out. Can't wait for that. Yo, Chud, we're definitely going to talk about Chud. The Stuff, Society. For some of you that's seen that one, you know what I mean. Society. Ugh. Cobra. You think you're hot now. Crazy Chicken Prepper said you think you're hot now. What do you mean by that? Like, the shit going on or the fucking temperature in this fucking room? The car. The toy. Oh, Brewster's Million. That was another one of my favorites. I love that movie. I wish they would do an updated version of that. That would be awesome. Like whatever the matter of fact, I'm gonna figure out what the updated version of Brewster's Million would be, and we're gonna talk about shit like that, right? Like what was it, the $6 million man, right? He would be like the $6 trillion man, $1 zillion man now. Christine is not bad. I like that movie. Cujo's another one. Short Circuit 1 and 2. Weird Science. Yo, a ton of movies, man. A ton of movies we could talk about. I think AP Sexual Chocolate. Yeah, imagine. Sexual Chocolate. That was my favorite scene. That Sexual Chocolate part. A lot of people didn't find it funny. I thought that was... Oh, of course I saw Trespass. Yo, Gunslinger. Of course, that's... Dude. Not only did I see it, but I've spoken about it in my head. What would I do if I ran into a situation like that? I would fucking be thugging it out with Ice Cube and Ice T and them. We're getting into it, dude. That's what would happen. The $6 billion boy. Yeah. Big. That's another classic. Blade Runner, the original, classic. My father loved that one. He loved that one. He loved Excalibur. Definitely talk about that. Crawl. I loved Crawl. I think Crawl, even with the shitty special effects. So we're gonna talk about Mask, right, with Sharon and Eric Stoltz. I got to see an actual picture of that guy. And some of these guys I might have to do as videos because there's going to be too many like comparisons and back and forwards and how I want to talk about certain things like the real life of the person first. So certain videos might have to be done unless I could work this thing out and have it work for me like I would a video. That might work, but Ernest Scared Stupid, all of the Ernest movies we're going to talk about probably in one sitting. The Burbs, Hudson Valley, that was a good fucking one. The Burbs is really good. Stand By Me is another classic. Iron Eagle 1, 2, and 3, right? I think they're up to like 700 now. They Lived. Yes, I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that soon. The Goonies. We could do that fucking movie like off the cuff. I'm also trying to figure out where I can find some of these movies and I could burn them so I could flash a couple scenes. I know that the one thing about flashing movies though is that you could get demonetized and or the video taken down. So I have to be careful with flashing certain scenes, but we shall see. I think a lot of 80s films, they don't care because people will be like, oh, I remember that. Like someone just mentioned the Garbage Pail Kids. We'll definitely talk about that. Not only are we going to talk about that, we're going to have some fun with that one. Movies like the Garbage Pail Kids, because I could do a lot with that one. 98 Degrees. I didn't see that one. Road Warrior, absolutely. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, my favorite. I didn't like Mad Max, the original, the first one. I wasn't a big fan of it. Like, not at all. Booty Trap. We could talk about Pootie Tang. Oh. Yo, you know that I watched Pootie Tang the other day? I was in the firehouse, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, and I'm staring at the TV, I'm like this. And the entire time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, yo, this movie is shitty, but I could not look away from the screen. I was like, what the fuck? And then as I'm watching, I'm like, who the fuck directed this movie? Chris Rock, right? It was Chris Rock's character. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, but why? Why the fuck would anybody, want to do this movie? Why is a skinny dude fucking running around going tippy tie, man? I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like, and it was such a shitty movie. Like, it was bad, man. It was the, and I couldn't look away. I was like, it was like a train wreck with bodies and shit. And the guy with his belt, he's like, shh, 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 and he puts his belt back on, and they have the fucking audacity to reverse it, so it looks like the belt was like going back on. And that was a horrible movie. Horrible movie. I mean, there was a lot of bad movies. That was fucking bad, man. Pootie Tang? And if you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. It's that bad, you gotta see it. It's a fucking nightmare of a movie. Pootie Tang is so funny. Yo, but it's crazy. Like the scene where he's getting in a shootout and he's doing a stupid dance. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But I'm still watching it. I am motherfucking the movie every step of the way, but I'm watching it. I'm like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. I can't stop looking at it. So dumb. Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 version, that was good. I like that version. But the new one, the 2009 version, that was tits. I like that one. The River's Edge. I never seen that. Obviously, you got to talk about E.T. Someone said Sadate. Nice, Sadate. Yo, it was a bad movie, man. It was really fucking bad. It was up there with Ratpocalypse. Ratpocalypse. Yo, Gleaming the Cube, Brian. I saw that the other day. I saw it about 3 months ago. I was like, it's still a decent movie. A little corny, with the kids and shit and the skateboard and fucking going underneath the truck at full speed ahead. I'm like, that's a little bad, but it was still a good movie. Like, and then the fucking, he uses his skateboard and knocks the gun out of the guy's hand as he's in the midair. Like, get the fuck out of here. But the one thing about Gleaming the Cube is what we're going to talk about when we get to it, is the, all the skateboarders that went in, all the professional skateboarders. Tony Hawk was in it, right? A bunch of kids were in it. And one of the kids, I think Gator is his name, he's dead now or some shit like that. Or he was in jail and ended up being dead, or ended up dying for some bullshit. But a lot of those guys stayed skateboarding, and a lot of those guys didn't. Tony Hawk was the only one out of all of them that, if I'm mistaken, was the only one that became famous, even in his old age. Glory's a classic. That's a classic movie. That's a classic. Cocoon, we got to talk about that. That's an old people's treat. We'll talk about that with like all the older people who are on here now who watched Cocoon when they were like in their 40s, and now they're like, I don't know what, 70, and they're like those people from Cocoon. They were watching that movie back then, like, yo, look at those old people. I'll never be that old. Now they're those people watching Cocoon for tips. How did they dance like that at that scene? How did they slam dunk the ball at fucking 80 years old? Inception's not a 90s movie, but we could talk about that. There was a lot of hidden gems in Inception. The Fly 1 and 2, classic. 2, not so much, but 2 was still good. Yeah, nobody will beat Tony Hawk. Uh-oh. So is it Donnie Darko? I've never seen that movie in its entirety. Invasion of the Body Snatcher, Rum Runner, which one? The original, the fucking 99 version, the 98 version, and there was another version that came out in 2000 something. It's like 3 or 4 versions of the Body Snatcher. Christmas Story, obviously we're going to talk about that during Christmas time. Oh, Santa, the movie, we're going to talk about that one too during Christmas time. I know a lot of us don't celebrate Christmas. A lot of you guys don't celebrate Christmas, but we're still going to talk about those classic Christmas movies growing up. What year ranges are you going to pick? Turmo, so it's going to be mostly 90s and 80s and 90s movies, and even late 70s films we're going to touch on. We might touch on some early 2000s, and then any good movies that, like The Matrix or Inception, right? Movies like that, Dark Knight, those Batman trilogies that what's his name made. Awesome. I'm going to watch The Omen again and The Exorcist again, because we're definitely going to talk about that. But The Exorcist was a 70s movie, right? Wasn't it a late 70s movie, if I'm not mistaken? Devil's Reject was a good movie. Insane, but a good movie. That movie, actually, The Devil's Reject, I am pretty sure, guys, if you read the screenplay that was meant to come out, there was some way darker shit in there. And they just had to tone it down as much as they could. Airplane, obviously. Bad Santa. That wasn't bad. Night of the Comet, absolutely. Falcon, that sucks, but we'll definitely talk about Christmas movies. if it makes you feel better. But yeah, there's a lot of movies to cover, man. Forrest Gump, forget about it. Another classic. Saving Private Ryan, yo, classic. Solar Babies, like, yeah, we discussed that. That's a classic. I love Solar Babies. I was like, though it's not realistic. Like 90% of the shit they were doing on their roller skates, there is no way they were outrunning those cars. Like when you watch the movie again, you're like, I would have ran those kids over. Fuck it. That's how you end the movie really quick. You don't sit there and try to catch them. You just run them over. Movie's over. Like there's a lot of scenes in the movies like Broken Arrow with John Travolta and Christian Slater as they're flying the stealth bomber. And John Travolta stares at Christian Slater. He gives him that look like he wanted to ask him whether or not he would join in on him, right? And there was a simple solution to that movie. Christian Slater would have turned around to John Travolta and like, yo, how about we just steal these nukes? And John Travolta looks at him and goes, how about we do? And they sail off into the sunset or sunrise. Well, it was the morning time they were doing that. And they sail off into the sunrise and the movie ends. There's like a lot of easy ways you can end the movie. Me and my brother used to talk about shit like that, doing like spoofs on movies and how quickly they should have ended instead of being 2 hours long. Point Break, yeah, that's a good one. That's a classic. Equilibrium was a sleeper movie. I like that movie. That was really fucking good. We could definitely talk about that. Well, Heathers, Pump Up the Volume. We could definitely talk about those movies. Listen, guys, a ton of movies that we could talk about. I mean, there's a shitload of movies. So I have an Instagram page, right? It's the Angry Film Critic on Instagram. I'm trying to keep up with a lot of the posts on there because a page like that, you could fucking post every day. Like there was an 80s actor that just died yesterday. I just found out about it. So I'm going to find out his information. I'm going to post that. And then I'm going to try to post like the 40th year of The Last Starfighter. A classic fucking movie. That movie doesn't get any classicer than that. Classicer is not a word. But that's a fucking good movie. Dances with Wolves, that's a good movie. Another classic. Postman, someone mentioned that earlier. Real Genius, Top Secret, right? So there's a lot of fucking movies we definitely could go over. Winter Homestead and Gene, thank you. That's a good idea. I'll post it in the community board. Movie of the week, we'll watch it, and by the end of the week or the following week, we'll talk about that movie. But there's so many movies, I do not know where to start. So I'm going to start with, and I'm going to look for movies that we can all access. So whether that's Netflix, Prime, and whatever other movie streaming services we can use to watch these movies, right? Dirty Dancing, definitely. That's a no-brainer. Tales from the Hood, Tales in the Hood. This is Tales from the Hood. I'm not mistaken. Cloak and Dagger was my favorite. Explorers, another favorite of mine with the kids with who was that? One of the Joaquin brothers, Joaquin Phoenix. River Phoenix is in that one. Clockwork Orange. I did not like that movie, like at all. Amadeus. Someone said it. I just bought that movie about a year ago. I still haven't watched it. I remember it. I remember it from front to back, or beginning to end, rather. Tubi. Thank you. That's another one we could watch. So I'm going to see if I can find it. If not, I'll see if I can find a YouTube version where we can watch it on YouTube. Brokeback Mountain. So I was watching it the other night. It was on at the firehouse, and I was looking at it, and I was thinking to myself, how in the fuck could those guys do that? And cinematography-wise, it was a good movie. Story-wise, I don't know. I don't know if I could, but if people want to talk about it, I will talk about it. I don't want to. If you guys want to, we could. House Party 1 and 3. Yo, you got to go with 1, 2, and 3. And even a remake wasn't bad. Vision, Colors. That was good. That was a good fucking movie. I'm all about colors. My father would not let me watch it when it came out, man. RoboCop. We're going to talk about that. I got an ass whipping for RoboCop. And I'll tell you about that story when we talk about a live stream on it. But I took a beating for RoboCop. And it was worth it. Especially back then. When we thought that special effects was it, they're like, this is it. No, when Terminator 2 came out, when that special effects was out, we were like, this is it. This is the fucking pinnacle or the peak of special effects when we watched fucking Terminator 2. Then they came out with all that other crazy shit. Juice, we could definitely talk about Juice, but I might do Juice in a video form because I could visit all the spots in Juice. Lean on Me, another classic. Obviously, Terminator 1, 2, and that's it, because those are the only two good ones. American Meat, Blood In, Blood Out. Those are good fucking. Sojourner said it. Yeah, those are good ones. Yeah, and Jaws was PG when it was released, and it should have been at least rated R because of the vagina shot. So, some of you remember the opening scene with the chick butt ass naked running on the beach, right? Not that you could see her vagina, but you saw a bush, and that was considered rated R. But for whatever reason, they gave it a PG rating, and it should have been a PG 13 at best, or rather rated R at best. But they let it go. Blair Witch Project, that's a good movie. Do the Right Thing. Yo, there's so many things with Do the Right Thing that so many bones to pick with it. Now that I watched it and I'm older, I'm like, fuck Mookie. Fucking punch Mookie in the face the next time he fucking comes across your restaurant and go, and telling people, why don't you have this guy on the board? Well, breaking Sal's balls. I'm like, Mookie was a fucking punk kid. Now that I'm older, I would have been punching Mookie in the face like, you little motherfucker. You fucked up my restaurant, you piece of shit. I'd have been beating Mookie's ass. So fuck that kid. We're definitely going to talk about Do the Right Thing, especially now that we're older and our mindsets change. Movies like that, Menace to Society, still a good movie. I don't agree with anything that happened in that movie, but still a good movie. Watched it 2-3 months ago. But yeah, man, Roadhouse. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch RoboCop or Colors or a lot of movies for that matter. Jason, the Friday the 13th franchise, I wasn't allowed to watch that either. Still got it in. Backdraft. Yo, absolutely. You got to talk about Backdraft. That is the fireman's movie. Every firefighter's watched Backdraft. And when a fireman tells you he didn't watch Backdraft, either he's an asshole or he's lying to himself because he doesn't want to admit to watching that movie. That's an awesome movie. And Backdraft, by the way, was a love letter or a thank you from Ron Howard to firefighters. And Ron Howard looked at firefighters as superheroes. That is why there were a ton of things in Backdraft that firemen complained about. They complained about the movie, but there was a reason why they never understood it. Slow jamming. We're not talking about Building 7 or anything like that on here. You want to ask that question on the Angry Truth channel? You absolutely can, but not on here. Towering Inferno. Love that movie. They need to do a remake of that. They could do so many things with a remake now. So many things. It would be on the level. But Bringing Out the Dead. I didn't like that movie. I didn't like Something Asphalt with Sean Penn. That was a weird movie. It nailed the calls we get and how the calls are, but I didn't really like it. Something Asphalt Street or some shit like that. Turk 182. I got to look at that again. Tombstone. Here's the question. Suze, thank you for bringing it up. So there is a debate in Tombstone, and when you watch the scene again, Doc Holliday says it clear as day, but for whatever reason, people repeated it wrong. So the debate is, and I'm going to do a video on this or a short on this, but the debate was, what did Doc Holliday say to Gringo when Gringo was threatening Wyatt Earp and his brothers, and Doc Holliday said, "I'll be your huckleberry, not Huckleberry." Now, when you listen to the movie again, listen to what he says. Everybody keeps thinking it's Huckleberry. It's Hucklebearer. Now look up Hucklebearer, and you'll see what the meaning means, and then it directly correlates to him reverse threatening Ringo. It was one of the greatest debates, man. But yeah, I'll be a Huckleberry. Yeah, exactly. Not Huckleberry. Like, why would he be somebody's, fruit berry from a tree? But Huckleberry makes more sense. But yeah, definitely, guys. Again, there's a lot of information I know about movies and shit that I got to gather. My brother, who's really good at this as well, I'm going to be picking his brain and where I can get information from all of these movies. But there's a lot of behind. What does it mean? Winter Homestead. Huckleberry is right. You're carrying the casket. It's the actual arm, if you will, or the metal piece that goes across the casket that pallbearers grab to carry the casket. Huckleberry. That's the name of the part on the sign of the what you call it. And there's another name. I think they call it a pallbearer's handle or some shit like that. It's like another name for it. But the original name for it was Huckleberry, right? And yes, Huckleberry Finn. The book was written 5 or 6 years before the OK Corral. But Huckleberry makes way more sense. So he in essence say, "I'll carry you to your grave." That's what it means. But I'm definitely going to do a short and or video on it. Probably a video, which is going to be like 2-3 minutes long. But I'll definitely do a video on it so I can go over what it is. But it's actually not a debate. It's just. And then I had to listen to the scene again, and I listened to the scene. I'm like, he said Huckleberry. He did not say Huckleberry. So whatever. But that's a miss what you call it line. Like Shia LaBeouf's character in Fury in the tank. Everybody's trying to figure out what he's saying. And when Brad Pitt is like fire on target, Shia LaBeouf kept yelling on, and everybody was saying, was he saying on what or on one? Right? And it didn't make sense to say on one. There was only one tube in the tank. It wasn't like a submarine where you go on two, but he kept saying on one or on what, but then fired off. So yeah, Car Wash. Oh, that's going to be a touchy one. All the war movies of the 80s. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, all the war. Like Hamburger Hill, Platoon. Fucking classic. Fury was a great movie. I thought the movie was really good. I had to watch it again, and I really appreciated it. Like Mad Max Fury Road. When I first saw it, I was like, this fucking movie. And then I watched it again. I'm like, yo, I like this movie. For the doggies, Ishtar. Yes, Ishtar was at the time, the world's worst not low budget. It was the world's worst movie. It didn't make any money, Ishtar. But there's another movie called, what is it? XXYZ Road. I don't know how you say it. That was the worst movie ever made that no one saw. One person saw the movie, actually. It made $11.25 or $7.25, whatever it was. But only one person saw the movie because it was released in one theater, and that was because of some kind of mess up. And so it was supposed to go straight to video, but instead it was released to a theater in a small town somewhere, and like only one or two people saw the movie or whatever it was. But I'll definitely do a video on that one. But that was a crazy one. Like the whole mishap was crazy, and it was the world's worst movie. Like I said, it was supposed to be straight to video, but that didn't happen. Mr. W, I'm looking for Space Camp. I can't find it. So you know what I'm gonna have to do? Order the DVD off of Amazon and then watch it again. But the thing with Space Camp is that would never happen in a million years. My father sort of ruined it for us when we were kids. When we watched the Space Camp, he's like, that shit ain't ever gonna happen. That can't happen in a million years. What kid is gonna hit the launch button in the shuttle? And then when you watch it again, you're like, well, we fucking stupid or what? How is it that this kid launched the shuttle by accidentally hitting the launch button on a shuttle? Get the fuck out of here. Still an entertaining movie. But it was stupid. Stupid like everything else. But anyway, with that being said, guys, I guess we should go off the air. I could be on fucking like another half hour or so with this bullshit. But Spawn was a fucked up one. You know what's a fucked up movie? Human Centipede. That's a screwed up movie. You want to see a bad movie that makes you want to kick your TV screen? Watch that movie. And I was only mad about that movie because I had my son at the time. He's 25 now. But at the time we saw this, he was 14, 15 years old. I was wrong. Josh Peak. It was Huckleberry, is what he said, not Huckleberry. It wasn't a theory, a debunked theory. You listen to it. He said Huckleberry. He didn't say Huckleberry. Hucklebearer and Huckleberry are two different words. Though if you say it fast enough, you could probably get it confused. But it was Huckleberry. convey readiness and capability. But also, he also, Josh Peak, that's a good one, but he also threatened to carry him to his grave. And what did he do at the end? He wound up killing him, putting him in his grave. I don't know if that meant all-seeing cat. But yeah, we could get into that conversation all day. It was Huckleberry, not Huckleberry. It's not wrong. Val Kilmer debunked it himself in the original script too. Well, then we will see this, Josh Peak. But when I listened to it again, he said Huckleberry. He didn't say Huckleberry. He said, I'll be a Huckleberry. Unless he said Berry with an accent and then it came out like Bearer. There is that. But listen to it again. Jeremiah Johnson. Is that a movie? Because I didn't see that. And I think somebody mentioned that before and I've never seen that one. Diggstown. Someone said Dingleberry, which made me think of Diggstown. What's his name? That's a fucking good one. Enemy Mine, another good one. A Betamax player? No, I didn't. But I heard Betamax was better than VHS. But VHS dominated the market. So I'm definitely going to do more research on the Huckleberry thing. But he said Huckleberry. And Huckleberry is carrying somebody to their grave. But if I'm wrong, and I'm going to do more research, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit to it. I'll make you famous. Billy the Kid, right? Did he even say that? I mean, I'll have to look that up, but yeah. Mars Attack. I hated that fucking movie. I really hated Mars Attack. Oh, Brian, I tried to watch Dune, the original Dune, 1983 or 84. I tried to watch the original Dune after watching the two Dunes that they just released. I can't look at the original Dune anymore. I can't. I tried watching it, and it's fucking lame. After you watch the greatest Dunes movie ever made, and then you try to watch the old ones, you're like, can't do it. Can't do it. Cliffhanger. That was a good movie. What was the other one? The other one where they're climbing the mountain. Vertical Limit. Vertical Limit was bad. All-Seeing Cat. Betamax, from what I understand, was way better in quality than VHS. But like DVDs and what's just the other one? They had DVDs and then they had high def and they had something else, and DVDs won the market. When in fact DVDs were less quality. Billy Jack? No. Didn't see that. Trilogy of Terror, didn't see that. Watched them in the wrong order. Natural Born Killers, I like. I thought, what's her name in the movie? She was the sexiest she ever was in that movie. Was it Juliette Lewis? Right? I think she was the hottest. Actually, she was pretty hot in Strange Days, but I thought she was the hottest in that movie. You need a weekly theme. Thermo Dog. Yeah, weekly theme that could work. I was just thinking about doing it once or twice a month. Laserdisc was the shit. Oh wait, how many of you remember the disc that you had to It was like a Laserdisc. You had to stick it in the device and pull it out, and then it played the movie. It was some weird shit. It used to be at the Vistana Resort down in Florida. You used to rent the movie, and it was this big thing like a record, and you stuck it in, and you played the movie. No, you stuck it in, you left it in there, and you played the movie, and then when the movie was halfway done, it said turn over to side B. You had to pull it out, flip it over, stick it back in. It was like the Laserdisc, but like more complex. Gang related. Assault on Precinct 13, the original or the remake? Because I love the remake. I didn't see the original. The Wiz. The Wiz is still a good movie. Still a good movie. Grit and Grace said, what the hell is a Laserdisc? You messing with me? Are you serious? Leviathan, Deep Star 6, The Abyss. Yo, no one knows what a Laserdisc is? Am I that fucking old? No. I can't be that old. I mean, I know I'm old, but come on, seriously? No one knows what a Laserdisc is? Holy shit. Might as well go down and lay in the fucking grave and die now. Laserdisc by RCA. See, somebody knows what that is. The Blob. What, the 1985 version, right? The Blob? That was a good one. The Game of Michael Douglas, good movie. Right, Laserdisc never took off. It was too expensive for its time, and there was something else wrong with it, but I can't remember what. But I'll look it up. For real, I was born in '82. I was born in '77. We're not that far away. Undercover Brother. Soul Plane. You guys want to watch a really bad black movie? Soul Plane. They hit every stereotype they possibly could with that movie. That was garbage. Oh, shit. So it just went by too quick. Josh Peak says Val Kilmer's autobiography where he debunks it, not the Reddit section. Got it. 1978. Donald said 68. Falling Down, we're definitely going to talk about. Bullet with Steve McQueen. They're doing a Bullet 2, by the way. Trying to figure out how they're going to pull that off. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Monster Squad. Classic. The Italian Job. The new version or the old one? Please don't make me watch old-ass movie. Like Walking Tall, the original version. I don't want to watch that. Blackula. Fuck. Gone in 60 Seconds. There was an old version, right? If I'm not mistaken. The Great Escape, Stir Crazy. Yo, we can go for days. New Jack City. I could do a live stream in front of the building where the courtyard was, where Nino Brown took over that building. I know exactly where that building is. 116th and 7th Avenue in Harlem. Trading Places, obviously. Swamp Thing, my favorite. My favorite. I love Swamp Thing when I was a kid. Warriors, another classic. The Fly. All right. Yeah, guys, we could be on here for fucking ever. Like, forever. Anyway, guys, on your way out, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. We got a lot of movies. Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer, Red Sonja. So many movies we could talk about. Footloose, right? We could talk about a lot of shit, man. We can go crazy. Crazy. A lot of movies we could talk about. Roger Rabbit, Demolition Man. I like Demolition Man. Interstellar. Interstellar was a fucking great movie. Great. But we're going to try to... Can't Buy Me Love. That was one of my favorite gay movies. I thought I liked it. Even to this day when I watched it a few months ago. I was like, still a good movie. But it's a shame that what happened to the blonde. I forgot her name. Something Green. That's where she was born. Something Greenville. But the blonde that was in that movie, she turned into a junkie and died of an overdose. But again, when we talk about these movies, we're going to go over like the people who passed away in them, especially at a young age, right? The big girl from Bachelor Party. Tom Hanks' brother's wife, she passed away early. Audrey from National Lampoon's Vacation, she passed away early. I think complications of diabetes. Spanish dude that was in Leviathan and Batteries Not Included, the Spanish guy, he died of a heart failure at a young age. There's a lot of people we can definitely talk about when they passed away at a young age back then. Some people are like, why haven't I seen this? Free Jack, still a good movie. Saw that 4 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago. Free Jack, still a good movie. Poltergeist 1 and 2. 3 was okay, but 1 and 2 were really good. All right. Enough. We could be on here for days talking about fucking these movies. Fort Fairlane, my favorite. Porky's, my favorite. Verenja the Nerds. Yeah. So, yo, all day we could talk about this shit. So, we're going to pick a theme for a week. That's a good idea by Tempo Dogs. That's a good idea. We're going to pick a theme of the week. And we'll hit those themes on Instagram and the community board and on the video in live chat form. Right? So, if we don't get it started next week, we'll get it started the week after that when I come back home. But we definitely will be talking about a lot of shit. I've used Watch Together on Watch with groups online. Yeah, you could do that. We'll see. We'll see if we can get that done. Attack of the Killer chair. This chair. Anyway, guys, thank you for testing this out with me. I appreciate it. As always, I will see you guys. I won't be doing a live stream. I might do a live stream Thursday night. And then the next few live streams will be in Florida. So we shall see. Other than that, guys, the community board is the post. It's like where I post shit. You'll see it when you go on the Angry Critic film channel, you'll see it. It's either say community board or post or whatever. That's why I'll post a lot of that shit. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for testing this out. And yeah, man, this should be fun. Thanks.